CZ versus Sig? I think not. What's up, everybody? You are watching another Fun with the Gun episode, and today we are comparing two legendary 9mm handguns. So let's get this thing started.
Yeah, I have in my hand a Sig P226.
And I've got here the CZ75 SP01.
Right.
We
like both of the guns. First off, and I'm going to tell you this right out front, there's no winners, there's no losers here.
Absolutely.
Just a matter of preference.
Yep. So what we're going to try and figure out here is just which one of these guns fits the individual. You know, I mean, they're both excellent handguns, but everybody's got different personal preference.
We want to give you an insight into these guns. If you're thinking about buying it, we're going to tell you some maybe positive, maybe some negative viewpoints relative to what you might want. Well, we're going to start out with the price. So you're going to spend maybe close to $1,000 for this.
And you're going to be looking at spending probably somewhere around $500 or $600 for the CZ.
First off, from the top, they both have
tritium night sights.
Excellent.
Yeah, they are extremely excellent, by the way. They both function very, very well.
Most handguns, you pay extra for it.
Yep.
These come stock with it. Now,
slide.
The slide. This slide, look at the difference here.
Yeah.
This one sits nice. I'm going to go to this camera. This one sits nice and low. The Sig, a little up high.
It's a lot beefier, though, the Sig slide.
Well, the slide is going to give you a little more backflip because of the height.
Yeah.
You know, leverage.
If you look, it's a much larger slide than the CZs, just comparatively, you know. This one's a lot bigger. It's got a little bit more weight, so you're going to have a lot more, well, maybe not a lot more, but in my experience, I get quite a bit more muzzle flip with the Sig than I do with the CZ. That's just because of the geometry of the slide.
You have right here a tank of a gun.
Absolutely.
This is all steel construction.
It weighs a little bit over 2 pounds.
It's a heavy gun.
Very heavy.
And it feels like a tank. Okay, but there's positive and negative. You don't want to carry this around as a concealed carry weapon all day, I don't think, because it's a little heavy. This might be a little more comfortable.
But it's also bigger.
It's also bigger. Okay, but on the other hand, the weight makes this a great target shooting pistol.
Absolutely. Because
compared to this.
Yeah, there's hardly any recoil, and the muzzle flip is just dramatically reduced because of the geometry of the slide. Notice how it's located inside of the frame rather than outside the frame.
Going down on this gun here.
Right.
Let's talk about little controls here.
Okay.
We have here
decocker,
which takes the place of a safety, which I really like.
Yep.
And I think he likes too.
The SP01, it does not come with a decocker. It has a ambidextrous thumb safety.
In California, it does not come with a decocker.
Yes.
Because it's not on the legal roster.
Yep.
The tactical SP01, which I would recommend if you could get one, if you can find one, I think is better because it has the decocker and it doesn't have the safety.
Yep. We both prefer decockers after handling the Sig. That's just our preference.
Yeah.
If you like ambidextrous thumb safeties, you might like this CZ. Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, ergonomics. We both prefer the ergonomics of the Sig. There's just something about the grip that's just more comfortable. It fits both of our hands better.
Feels good in your hand.
Yep.
And the weight and see, ergonomics comprises of many things.
Yes.
Two important things: weight and distribution of it.
Yes.
And this, I think, has the weight really well distributed.
Yeah.
This gun feels maybe a little front heavy, and which is, on the other hand, is good for target shooting.
Definitely.
Because you know, follow-up shots are better because your muzzle flip is less. Where this, you have more of a muzzle flip.
This might be a better concealed carry or you know, full-size duty handgun for those that may be on the force or military or anything like that.
Well, obviously,
you might want to go with the Sig.
Okay, let's move down here.
How about the mag release controls here? So my issue with the CZ here is that my hands don't really wrap around the grip. Even with these small grips, I have a lot of difficulty accessing the mag release.
Yeah.
Don't have that issue with the Sig here, though.
Right. And the Sig, it's mild-mannered compared to this. This is like
very stiff.
Very, very stiff.
Yeah.
The whole gun is stiff. We've fired thousands of rounds through this gun, and it has not broken in, I guess.
Yeah.
It is broken in. It just doesn't feel like it. It's stiff, right?
Yes,
Completely
exactly.
stiff.
When you're racking the slide, when you're activating the safety, the mag release, the slide release, all of those controls, very stiff comparative to that of the Sig.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Sig's much more comfortable and easy to use overall.
Yeah.
That doesn't...
If you're a woman, you don't want that gun, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're not gonna
have
a
someone
fun time.
cock it for you.
Yeah. So, moving on to just general accuracy, you're not going to find that grand of a difference between the two guns. They're both pretty much exactly the same. We shot, each of us, these guns in different settings at different targets, and we've both gotten about the same level of accuracy and the same level of repeatable accuracy. So, neither one of these is that much more accurate than the other. They're both excellent in the accuracy
I think
department.
in general, though, follow-up shots...
Faster with the CZ.
Faster with the CZ.
Just because of that muzzle flip factor. That's about it, though.
And I'll say another thing, too, which is, he's too modest to say. He was basically shooting this gun for maybe a year.
Yeah.
And then when he tried the CZ, he immediately took to the CZ, and his shooting... Improved. It improved quite a bit. And I don't know, you can say maybe it's just experience at that time, it crested or whatever, I don't know.
Could be.
But I'm thinking that it was a gun, that the gun somehow fit him, even though it's a heavier gun, less ergonomic as we think, but his shooting became better with it.
Yeah,
That's
it
fact.
did. Okay, so moving on to trigger pull here. They both have a 5-pound trigger pull exactly. We measured it multiple times and took the average, and we came out to a straight 5-pound pull. However, I prefer the trigger pull of the CZ to that of the Sig, because with the CZ, when you're pulling the trigger here, I'll demonstrate it for you guys here. When you're pulling the trigger, I'll do this camera over here.
Yeah,
when you're pulling the trigger, when you pull it straight back, there's a bit of travel time in between where it grabs and where it actuates the hammer. And I actually like that because that distributes the 5-pound pull over that length of travel. With the Sig, it's a bit of a different story.
I like the Sig's pull because it's very different. It reminds me of a 2-stage trigger here. First stage here. Stops right here, very definite, and you know it's just going to snap right there, bomb.
But see, what annoys me about
I like that.
You like that. And that's where we have a bit of a difference of opinion here concerning these guns. What I don't like about that is that, for me, it feels like all 5 of those pounds of trigger pull are right there. It's not distributed over a length of
I like
pull.
that. I just like the definite because, realistically, folks, I don't have a steady hand. I mean, I don't think anybody really has a steady hand. A large part of marksmanship is timing your shots. You have to feel the ebb and flow of your own body's rhythm and pull the trigger off at just the right moment. Honestly, right? Don't you think so?
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Okay, so having a definite trigger pull, to me, makes all the difference in the world as opposed to squeezing, because when I start squeezing, I don't want to have to try and time my whole rhythm, because my whole rhythm, I'm timing it already. I'd rather, just as soon as it's there, boom, I'd rather be able to touch it and shoot, just like that.
So that's where we have...
Yeah, that's my personal preference.
That's where we have our only disagreements here, is that he prefers the trigger of the Sig, I prefer the trigger of the CZ. So they both have a railed front here so that you can add lights, lasers, forward vertical grip, what have you. There's nothing new there. Field stripping is a lot easier, though, from the Sig rather than the CZ. The CZ has a very difficult field strip. Basically, what you have to do is you cock the hammer back a quarter of the way till it stops there, and then you have to hold the slide back while you pound out this pin here that is the slide release plate, and then once that comes out, the slide separates.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's laborious. I don't care for it in any way, shape, or form. It takes way too much time.
The Sig is a lot easier.
Sig is a lot easier.
Sig is much easier. So that's the difference.
Yep.
But I guess you could get used to that, just like you get used to just about anything.
Either way, unless you're in a combat situation, I don't see you bothering with field strip as a reason for not purchasing a handgun. Sig, we should talk about, has interchangeable back straps for people of different grip sizes and different hand sizes, so that's nice. CZ does not come with that to my knowledge, but that's why we swapped out the grips here, so we've got that going on. Overall, I think we've touched on pretty much everything that we need to talk about here. What about failures? I haven't had any serious issues with the CZ.
We've had issues with this. And I think a lot of it is California oriented. You have a mag safety that I guess in California you have to have installed in order to sell certain weapons. And this one had it, and it caused the gun to jam. So we took it out. You don't have to have it to own the gun. You do have to have it to sell the gun. If I was to sell this gun to someone, I'd have to reinstall it. So I took that out.
Yeah, what happened was it ended up breaking and it made the trigger lock up to the point where you could not actuate the trigger and fire the gun.
It was completely jammed and we couldn't figure out what was going on. And you wouldn't want that in a life or death situation.
Absolutely not. But what I'm getting at here is that we're still having that issue every now and then, aren't we?
No, not that issue. The issue that we have now is every now and then the mag doesn't seat all the way.
Okay.
It slips out just a little bit. And I'm not sure if I think it's a mag problem, but who knows?
We're not entirely sure.
I'm not sure yet. We're going to have to explore that, and we'll let you know. We'll update you.
Overall, I think we've touched on about everything that we need to here.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's basically what you can expect for either of these guns. They're both really excellent in their own special ways, and hopefully now you guys can go out there and make a decision about which one you prefer.
I have to say one thing here really important. It was very difficult for me to obtain this gun.
Yeah.
And if you look at most websites, this gun is never to be found. I mean, they have it listed, but it's always out of stock. And that's because it's in such high demand. So a lot of people think it's a great value for the price. And we do.
I agree with that, yeah. This is an excellent gun, and it's one of my favorite 9mm. You know, it's a lot of fun. You know, it's got its drawbacks, but I don't mind them. They're not that big of a deal.
No, every gun has its little personality.
In conclusion, I love both of these guns. I think he does too.
Yeah.
They're both excellent for the money, but they're different. So you guys, thank you all so much once again for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That always keeps us motivated to make more videos, and we'll see you all in the next video.
Yeah, hope that helps you make a choice. If you're on the line, making a choice.
This has been Fun with the Gun, signing out.
Thanks.
See you next time, folks.